Welcome, everyone. Here we are. A little technical trouble, so we're a minute late.
Yes, but here we are. Welcome. And we would love to see where you are joining us from around the world. And we're so grateful to High Five Live for allowing us this opportunity today.
Now, just tell me, some people, you don't need an introduction. And Michael McLean is definitely one of those. People all around the world know him and love him and have followed him for years and years and years.
And been influenced by his devotion
As
to the
we
Savior.
have too.
Yes.
But you think about, so you get to 37 albums. Is it 37 now?
No, it's 45.
45 albums, but that's not even true because there's hundreds of them. They're all in his heart and they're all written down. They just haven't been published yet, and they keep flowing every day. So hundreds of albums, movies that he's made, including the wonderful It's Mr. Kruger's Christmas and lots of others. And the Forgotten Carols. Oh, I mean, we love those songs and we have listened to them forever.
Thank you.
And producing the Tabernacle Choir and on and on and on, traveling all over the world and sharing his beautiful witness and going through wonderful experiences. Listen, if you haven't listened to his podcasts, there are so many. Look them up and listen to them because you can listen for hours as we have. Bless your life forever. But maybe we'll tell you how much it's blessed our little family.
Oh, yes. We have grown up quoting your songs, singing your songs, and our children, in fact, you have been quoted as saying, and in many variations of this, but sometimes a song teaches you a truth that only...
the only way your heart can hear it.
Yeah. Exactly. The only way your heart can hear it. And I feel like that our children and both of us have been influenced that way also, that your songs have helped us hear what the Lord wants us to know.
Thank you.
So thank you.
When we were talking before the broadcast and texting back and forth, you said, what I try to do is set the stage so that Jesus can talk to people directly. I love that phrase. I just always want to get out of the way and let him do his work because it is his work. And he uses us as instruments, you directly as an instrument, so that his work can be done. And I wanted to just start by saying, Michael, if you want to hear his voice to you, it is this. Think about somebody you really love, like your beautiful wife. If she came to you, Michael, and said, "You delight my soul," that'd be a pretty good line, wouldn't it?
She says that all the time.
No, here's the line. She'll say, "Thank you for doing the dishes."
Yeah, there you go.
And that delights my soul.
There you go. So to have Jesus say, "For my soul delighteth in the song of the heart," and it's a prayer to him, and he will answer it with blessings upon our heads. That is a profoundly beautiful statement that I think relates directly to you, Michael. You have delighted his soul, and I want to tell you from him that you delight his soul and have as you delight all of us.
Well, I had an really interesting experience this year because it was the first year I was able to engage with people during the Forgotten Carols tour. Mm-hmm. It was our 34th anniversary, and I was turning over the heavy lifting of acting and directing and all that stuff that I had done for so long to my son Scott, who's a fabulous actor.
Yes, he is.
And he got married last year. He found this perfect human, Lisa Zimmerman, who's also a fabulous singer. She's sung with Jenny Oakes and all.
Yeah, we know of Lisa.
She's so great. So they were doing John and Connie Lou, and I said, I have an impression that I'm supposed to go to every show and do something I have not done since 2018, which is see people, to do sips and selfies, to hug and kiss and do things. But because I've been so sick with my kidney failure and my transplant and my heart attacks and everything else, I just couldn't risk it. So I had found a way to get out of what I called Act 3. And Act 3 is the part, for those of you who've been to the Forgotten Carols, that's where I come out and I sit at the piano and I tell everybody how much I love them, and then we sing Together Forever Someday. And we link up and we sing it, and then we sing something else. And I've been doing that for 34 years. And there's it's like there's the same jokes that I've been telling as part of that little act 3. It's like going to see a Victor Borge show. You know, you're going to hear the, and all the funny things that Victor Borge does. Well, I would do this, and I then told everybody on staff, I will go out and I will hug every soul in that line until they go. And they said, you can't do that. You'll get sick. And I said, well, probably, but Jesus said, do this for me. I want you to look in their eyes, and I want you to hug them. And just at that, that kind of awkward moment where you give somebody you've never hugged before a hug, and it's kind of like, oh, this is time to let go. I don't want you to let them let go. I want you to hug them hard. And I want you to look in that eye, and I want you to thank them for coming, but I want you to tell them how much that you're just kind of standing it, that Jesus loves you so much, and he just needs to have a chance to tell you. Mm-hmm. And what was interesting is I had done the first few shows, because I think we did like 26 or 27 shows. And what had happened was I fell into I think it was a mistake, but I fell into the old pattern of tell stories, make people laugh, be tender, blah, 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 talk, because there's nothing that LDS 73-year-olds love more than the sound of their own voice. Oh my God.
I'm 73, so yeah, I hear
She just turned 73 this week.
Okay. And I'm sure that everyone out there is thinking, oh, we've just waited to hear Michael talk more. And so I'd tell stories and then sing, and then we'd hum Silent Night. And my son Scott, who had written the adaptation that we've been using, said, Dad, I think you're missing something. He says, I know you love these people, but you're telling them how you feel about Jesus. And you're kind of doing what we do in our tribe a lot, is we're telling you how you're supposed to feel when you're talking about Jesus. We've got it. And my heavens, you loved all these songs and you love this thing. Let me make sure there is no doubt that I've told you what to do. And I've just straightened you out with my wonderful, and I can't be wrong because you're crying, right? It's Thunder. Oh, he's so tender. He's such a sweet guy. He said, Dad, you're missing out on an opportunity to do the one thing the Forgotten Carols is designed to do, and the one thing that you've had an experience with since your transplant with the Lord, and how you see him and how you feel him and how you experience him. But I want you to find a way where you stop and refuse to say a word, because Jesus has something to say to every soul who's humming with no words. And I don't want you to comment on those words. I don't want you to be color commentary. Oh, wait a second. It's about my time to go. And it'll be really tender and really lovely and really wonderful. And it was sincere. It wasn't like I was a full-on hypocrite, but it was. And so the last half of the tour, I had experienced a moment where I said, we've had a chance to sing We Can Be Together Forever Someday. And we've sung it to people we love that aren't here. And we've even sung it to Jesus. That's our using music to say to him, we're going to do whatever it takes to be together forever with you. But now, why don't we just let him talk to us? And my mom used to always say, the only problem with life, it doesn't have any background music.
Yeah, I remember that.
I love that.
Why don't you, I'm just going to accompany this. And he has something to tell you. And he's going to tell it to you as his special witness. Now, we're lucky enough in our church and in our tribe to have special witnesses who will tell us their witness. But what we need is him to witness to us. And when you have had a witness from him that you cannot deny was from him, and that could only come from him who knows you in a way nobody else in eternity knows. The way that when he was in Gethsemane for you, that he knows things about you that he can teach you if you will just be still and know that he is God. Just let him talk to you. And I'm telling you guys, he was there. But he was there in a different way. He wasn't there because he delighted in me, because I wrote the song he inspired me to write. I think he was there because he said, more than anything else, now that you're not dead, Michael, I want you to do something that only you would do. I don't want you to do somebody else. I don't want you to do the Scott Anderson impression of A Great Testimony. I don't want you to figure out, how do I do a new book with the 7 steps to overcoming a faith crisis? No. If you don't do something that you uniquely have a capacity to do, you're not fulfilling the mission I sent you here to do. Well, how do I get confidence in that? Well, let's start with this, Michael. Quit chasing me. What? Michael, let's be honest. You're in show business. And I'm not trying to be irreverent with Jesus, but this is how he talks to me. He talks to me with songs. He teaches me things about what I need to know from him in songs that I write 30 years before I figure out, oh, that's what that was about. I just finished reading that great book by Dale Renlund, who's a doctor, and he used the metaphor of the stethoscope to be able to hear the Spirit. How can you hear the Spirit? And it was all that. And I thought, well, if this had been the Dieter Uchtdorf book, it would be about flying.
Yeah, exactly.
And if for some reason somebody had asked Michael McLean to do it, it would be about my language, my native tongue, which is songs. And I thought, if people could actually believe that Jesus wants to talk to them, that he wants you, you haven't offended him. He's not thinking, oh, here's all the things, let me straighten you out, and maybe someday you'll prove yourself worthy, so let me talk to you. No. I want to talk to you, not now, right now. And I want to start every day with you spending about a half hour, just you and me. Just you and me. And I don't want to hear you do your speeches that you've been saying for 73 years about all the things I'm supposed to do for you. I want you to consent to just let me be with you. And I don't want you to have thoughts about it. I want you to learn to just shut up and listen. And oh my heavens, it's been life-changing. So that's where I'm at.
Oh, that is beautiful. And that has everything to do with this Ukraine story that we would love you to share if you would like to.
Well, this was a fascinating story. It was before. Okay. I became friends, and this is mostly because of David Levitt, who had done a lot of work with Viktor Yushchenko, who was the president of Ukraine during the Orange Revolution. He's the guy who was, before the Russians poisoned him and tried to kill him, and he got really terribly disfigured. He was the Cary Grant of Ukraine. And I was at an event Dave and Shalom had asked me to go and sing at. And his wife had lived in Chicago. She was an American Ukrainian. And so she would translate for me. And we would talk. And I am so embarrassed, but I didn't really get who this guy was. I didn't realize he's a legend. He got 1 million people in that square in Kyiv. And he said, and I didn't also realize how intensely Ukrainians hate Russians. And so anyway, we became friends, and I sang him this song called Hold On, the Light Will Come. Because I said, this is my metaphor, and I'll let Katya, his wife, translate it for you. And so anyway, we became friends. Years later, after they kicked him out of being the president of Ukraine, he was going to have a birthday party for some of his embassy buddies. And I got invited by Dave to go and sing at his birthday party. So and of course by now I know who he is, and I speak in reverent tones. So I go to Ukraine, and he takes me to the museums where where the Russians had done the Great Famine, and they had destroyed every cathedral, 40,000 cathedrals, and I mean everything awful that would. And these people were Slavic, and they had, when you're there at Easter time, everybody greets you with good news. I mean, I just, they all look like they're in a Jason Bourne movie, but their hearts are really pretty terrific. So I went there, had a great experience, and I had 3 or 4 of my songs translated into Ukrainian. So turns out the war starts, and I've got COVID, and I've only got about an hour and a half a day that I'm even functional. And I see what's going on in Ukraine and see this horrible war. And the Spirit says, you need to take that song Victor loved and get it translated into Ukrainian, and you need to get it to those people. And I said, how am I going to do that? First of all, everybody's left Kyiv. All the people that I know there that could maybe help me with this are fleeing for their lives. Well, just trust me. So this is what happened over the next 3 days. I called Dave and I said, do you remember who that translator was? And he said, yeah. I said, could you maybe get in touch with them? He said, well, yeah, and I said, oh, and P.S., while you're helping me get this translated into Ukrainian, I need to find a great singer. I don't know from who's great in Ukraine. And he says, well, that's interesting because Ukraine has their own version of The Voice. And there's a woman named Yulia Tomashko who was the runner-up. And she's this extraordinary singer. And her brother-in-law lives in South Jordan. What? And he said, she's not in Ukraine now. She's fled with all of the refugees, and she's in Warsaw. And he said, I said, well, I want to do a version of this, but I can't get an orchestra. I can't fly over there and work with her or do whatever. And he said, well, let me see if she'd be willing to do it. So I sent her a copy of a female version, and I said, could we use this orchestration? And then you could just sing to that in a studio there. It wasn't in the right key for her. So I said, now what am I going to do? And she told me what key it was in. I then find out in her broken English that she's a returned missionary and that she had served in Kyiv, and that if I just send her this copy of my playing Hold On, the Light Will Come on my piano that's right out by the pond here, and send it to her in Warsaw, she'd get it into a studio and she'd sing it and send it back. So, and I'd never heard her sing. And I only have about an hour a day that, if I was as sick as I have been, this would be the end of our conversation. I'm too sick. So I go in, I play it, I send it to her. And the next thing I know is she sends it back, and Dave is holding a boombox playing the recording she has just done in Poland for a tent city of Ukrainians hearing Hold On, the Light Will Come in their language. And the interesting thing about it, first of all, it was like hearing, oh my gosh, Kelly Clarkson meets Whitney Houston. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, no doubt about it. You can Google it up for Yulia Tomashko. Hold On, Cheka. And she did something interesting that I asked her about. I said, when you did the reprise of the part that in English went, the message of this moment is so clear and as certain as the rising of the sun. If your world is filled with darkness, doubt, and fear, just hold on, the light will come. But what you did that I didn't tell you to do was you whispered it. I said, where did that come from? And she said, this makes me cry still. Michael, you and I both know that it's not the high notes and the vocal acrobatics that change us. It's a still, small voice. So I'm watching them play this, and I'm watching these Ukrainians just sobbing. And this is such a God thing. I mean, how could this, there's no way this could have happened. But who's there watching this is Katyana Yushchenko, who says, you know, I know the guy who runs the broadcast radio stations for all of Ukraine. Let's get that on that station. Oh, and let's get it everywhere we can on the internet. And let's get people, and then I'd start getting messages from people from Heber who were doing incredible missionary service, not proselyting, just to help these people find a place to live and eat while they're there. And then they'd give me reports. Boy, they loved that song of yours, Brother McLean. Just really, really touching. And so here's a guy who doesn't have any energy and is sick, and they're in the middle of a war, and everybody's fleeing to separate countries. And the Spirit says, Michael, why don't you do this? And my instant response was not, oh, great, I can, sure. No, my response was, well, that isn't even doable, and yet it is doable, and it's God's work, and I got to be a part of it, and it was international.
The miracle behind that, I mean, talk about be still and know that I am God. Not only did she feel that when she recorded, but somehow in the midst of that, you felt it quietly in a time when you were having to be still, and felt impressed to do his work and bless millions. It's awesome. You know,
thank you for sharing.
We would love to know a little more about your new song, because it summarizes 9 years of faith crisis. It summarizes so much of the challenges you face. It summarizes wonderful things with your son in a beautiful way. Do you want to just take, how do we do this briefly?
Is this the suffering song?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do what my mother said. Please, Michael, Reader's Digest version. Please. She would tease me. Don't ever ask him a question. You'll get a musical. Just keep it short.
Cut to the chorus, right?
Yeah, don't bore us. Get to the chorus. So what happened was, I happened to have been, I wrote that song with a great friend of mine, John Batdorf, who's in the Las Vegas Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And he's like a legendary studio rock singer. And he was signed by Ahmet Ertegun, who created Atlantic Records, and he went to Muscle Shoals. And I mean, and for some reason, I call ourselves the Self-Righteous Brothers, because, you know, here I am, this Mormon goody two-shoe missionary guy, and this guy was on, you know, Front Acts for America and Linda Ronstadt, and sang with Motley Crue. I mean, this guy's the deal, and probably as good a man as I'll ever know. So anyway, he called me up and said, I got a song that's not like anything I've ever written, and I think we need to do it. And I said, why? He said, trust me, McLean, give me a lyric. And it was the song was called Time Bombs. And he called me and he said, please get this to Capitol Records so they can master it. It has to get out. And it was on a Wednesday. And we take all the widows to the temple on Wednesdays. So we're driving down past UVU, and it was like you could throw a tennis ball and hit Charlie Kirk. I mean, it was that close. So we go there, and then as we're driving back, we find out the guy's been assassinated, and we have written this song that we both felt we had to do, and it was about these ticking time bombs that are they're going off everywhere, and we got to do something about it. And then after that, the horrible thing that happened in Michigan, and John sent me, and when we write songs together, he'll send me a melody and he'll do and said, figure out what the lyric is. So I'm thinking about all the suffering that's going on in the world. And I thought one of the things that I've been learning as I've been kind of learning to do contemplative prayer, and not so discursive, but contemplative, is if Jesus wants us to be like him, it's not going to be all a bed of roses. He was in Gethsemane not because we can do what he did in Gethsemane, but if we are not willing to suffer as he has suffered and try to help carry the suffering of those who don't know if they can go on, we're never going to learn to be like him. So don't get disappointed. Hey, I said really impassioned prayers, and man, we're aching. And so I thought, well, what if we wrote a song about how much we need to suffer, to be willing to suffer, not in any way that Jesus would do, but so that by suffering as he was willing to, we can carry in our hearts a space to help you carry your suffering. And I'd never thought about that before. I mean, I've been writing songs for a long time. And so I wrote the lyrics, and John recorded it, and oh my heavens, just turned out really profound. And I feel differently about, am I willing? Because everybody who's got a heartache and knows my history and knows my mental illness challenges, or has got a gay or a trans kid, they end up in my living room. And most of all, they don't need me to say what to do. They need me, who's been there, to sit and hold it with them. Now, this was not something I was trained to do. This was not something that when I was making all those missionary films for the church that they said, let's take on suffering. Let's take, and I grew up in Chicago where all the Catholics and Jews, they have suffering down. They've got it down, but I'd never taken it on. So I started, and that's when I sent it to you when you first asked me to do that. I thought, well, this is not a typical Michael McLean song in some ways, but then I realized that one of the things that Heavenly Father said to me when I got well enough to live a little longer, he said, I want you to write to the kids that nobody's writing to so they don't think they're alone. I wrote a song called You're Not Alone that kind of made me famous. They sang it at the women's conference 41 years ago. And one of the things that happened when I was trying to recover from my surgery was I rewrote You're Not Alone. I thought, that's weird. That's like saying, hey, James Taylor, rewrite You've Got a Friend, or hey, let's get another version of it. But I'm saying this because in my heart, this is for somebody who tuned in to hear me say this to them. The bridge of You're Not Alone, when it first came out, went, I know that it's not easy, but I know that it won't last. Because one who loves you more than me is sending blessings fast. You're not alone. That was the bridge.
Oh, yeah.
And then this is what came to me as I'm trying to recover from that surgery. And it was brutal, actually. And here's what came to me. He sees you through the lens of eternity, but he feels you from the depths of Gethsemane. He says, don't be afraid. Only believe I know what I'm doing. Far beyond what you can see. You're not alone. I send that to the heart of whoever my brother or sister or family that is feeling alone and doesn't want somebody to tell them how to not feel alone. But I want to carry that suffering with you with the promise that I received, that he knows what he's doing, far beyond what we can see. I'm out. That's all I have.
So beautiful.
So
much. My goodness.
No wonder.
So grateful.
Sweet Eve said it is better for us to pass through sorrow. There's a purpose in this whole process, and it's not to avoid it.
No.
And we're not alone going through it, but we go through it.
Yeah.
Every depth of it. That's true. We love you, Michael, and we
Yes.
testify that these beautiful ideas will
Oh,
inspire and
yes.
bless so many. So please share this.
Yeah, share this, and we invite you to find Michael McLean all over on the internet and listen and be inspired and changed. We so appreciate your life and how you have dedicated it to all that matters most. And being able to share what you've been through has helped so many, because we're all in this boat together.
And really helping others come to him is your goal, and that is certainly happening.
You know, I used to think, I'll be quick on this. I used to think that I was working for Jesus and that I didn't want to let him down, and that there were all these assignments that I had, and my job was to work for him and to please him, and to do the things that really he wanted me to do. And then he let me know in a way that is sacred and precious beyond that I'm not working for him. Jesus Christ wants to work with me. He wants me to talk to these people on your podcast. He wants me to write these songs. He wants to do that work with me. That he loves me that much that he says, let's go make the world a little better today. Here's your part, and then I'll do mine.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So beautiful. Better. Thank you. And thank you
Michael,
again
so
for
much.
being with us. We could go on and on.
That's not a good idea. I'm done. I'm done.
Thanks again. We love you so much.
Now, what button do I push?
We got it.
Okay.